Hello everyone, this is Himanshu Rathod from Department of Mechanical Engineering of Arya College of Engineering and IT. Today we are going to discuss the topic need analysis for one formulation from a subject product development launching. In our lecture number 3rd, we are going to cover topic idea generation. Now idea generation. Idea generation is the first step in the product development process. The process of generating new ideas may consist of brainstorming, attribute listing, focus, group discussion. It divided into two stages. Stage first, need identification and analysis. Stage second, problem formulation. Now, stage first, need identification and analysis. The first stage is developing new products or services is to undertake gap analysis to establish what the new offering will to provide. This need may be best met by feature modification of an existing product or services. Most new product development is in fact an incremental development of existing brand rather than introducing of totally new offerings. Now, gap analysis for scanning needs and idea generation. The need for totally new product or for addition to existing lines may have merged from the portfolio analysis, in particular from the use of the BCG matrix. As we see in this figure, this is a BCG matrix of gap analysis. The planning gap divided into 4 categories: usage gap, distribution gap, product gap and competitive gap. As we see in this figure, the usage gap, distribution gap, product gap and competitive gap. Marketing potential is equal to usage gap plus existing usage. Now, existing usage is equal to distribution gap plus production gap plus competitive gap plus existing sales. Real market share is equal to ES upon EU, means existing sales upon existing usage. This is the chart of these 4 categories: usage gap, distribution gap, product gap and competitive gap. Now we understand first usage gap. It occurs between the total potential for the market and actual current usage. Clearly two figures are needed for this calculation. First, market potential, second, existing usage. Second, distribution gap. Distribution gap is imposed by the limits on the distribution of the product or services. If distribution limit to certain geographical regions, as some dots bears are, it cannot expect to make sales in other regions. It can make sales on that only region. Third, product gap. The product gap, which could also be described as the segment or positioning gap, represent that part of the market from which the individual organization is excluded because of product service characteristics. This may have occurred because the market has been segmented and the organization does not have offering in sub-segments. Fourth, competitive gap. The competitive gap refers to the differences in effectiveness of a firm's marketing strategy related to its competitor in such product market. Now, problem formulation. A problem will defined is a problem half solved. Well begun is half done, as said by Aristotle. A report is meant to investigate a specific problem. Investigate means solve, analyze, discuss, interpret, estimate. A problem formulation is or slash can be question or something you are wondering about. The problem should be something you can solve, give answer to. A conclusion is a report is always the answer to the problem formulation. Different type of problem formulation. What descriptive, why explanatory, why, how normative. Now what is a descriptive problem formulation? It describes a problem. Example, what kind of problem appear for the company and the employee in the beginning of the employment. Now why is the explanatory problem formulation? It wants to explain a problem. Example, Why does it seem that the employees have trouble adapting the culture in the organization? Now, how is the informative problem formulation? It tries to solve a problem. Example, how can the company make sure that the new employees get all the supports they need? Now there are some tips for accurately defining research problems. In order to accurately define the problem, the researcher must find out why the information is being sought, determine whether the information already exists, determine whether the question really can or should be answered, use exploratory research to define background of the problem, situation analysis, the iceberg principle, find out not only that which is overt or seen but also what is covered or hidden, that is iceberg principle. Determine relevant variables. Now come to component of problem formulation. Any problem is formulated on the basis of the needs identified, assessed and analyzed, as well as on the basis of the theoretical background of the issue and the learning theory. The application needs include formulating a problem arising out of the first, the loss function. When the organization is suffering losses and the problem need to be addressed. Second, a model. For example, a system model has to be applied to a situation for detection purpose. Third, training or test data shows the existence of a problem. Now this is a component diagram of problem formulation. This chart showing the problem formulation of components. First is application need. Now divided into loss function, input output other variables, training test data, admission models, combining with the formal problem statement, and last one is learning theory and theoretical background of the issue. Now the hypothesis. A problem formulation can be in the form of a hypothesis. A hypothesis is an untested proposition. For example, the company is hiring the wrong kind of people. Definition of hypothesis. A hypothesis is a tentative generalization, the validity of which remains to be tested in its most elementary stage. The hypothesis may be any hunch or guess which became the basis for scientific inquiry. This guess or hunch is, however, not a shot in the dark. It based upon observation, exploration of the area and information gathered, and therefore is formulated on the basis of judgment. Importance of formulating a hypothesis. Without a hypothesis, research is unfocused. It will be a random empirical wandering. In fact, without well formulated hypothesis, the results cannot even be stated as fact with a clear meaning. The hypothesis is the necessary link between theory and the investigation, which leads toward the discovery of new knowledge. Types of hypotheses. There are many ways of classifying hypotheses. Here we are discussing them into three broad levels of the basis of level of abstraction. First, some hypotheses state the existence of empirical uniformities. These hypotheses frequently, though not always, represent the scientific examination of a common sense proposition. From the research of the type, the tabulation will yield expression of to the degree of uniformity in social behavior. They may be symbolized by graph, figures or maps. In any event, their end product is a simple description of group activities. Second, some hypotheses are concerned with complex ideal types. These hypotheses aim at testing the existence of logically derived relationship between empirical uniformities. This relationship may be positive or negative. It is important that this level of or hypothesizing moves beyond the expectation of simple empirical uniformity. Third, some hypotheses are concerned with the relation of analytical variable. These hypotheses occur at a level of abstraction beyond that of ideal types. Now, origin of hypothesis. The general culture in which a science develops furnishes many of its basic hypotheses. Hypotheses originate in the science itself. Analogies are often a source of useful hypotheses. Hypotheses are also the consequence of personal idiosyncratic experience. Now, characteristics of usable hypothesis. First characteristic is simple. Hypothesis should be simple and easy to understand. Second, conceptually clear. The concept should be defined operationally if possible. Moreover, they should be definite and those which are commonly accepted and communicable rather than products of a private world. Third, hypothesis should have empirical reference. No usable hypothesis can embody moral judgments. Fourth, hypothesis must be specific. All the operations and predictions indicated by it should be spelled out. The possibility of actually testing the hypothesis can thus be appraised. Fifth, hypothesis should be related to available techniques. Sixth, hypothesis should be related to a body of theory. Thank you. That's all for lecture 3rd.